extend a ceasefire for another 2 days. In Venezuela, social and political organizations participating in the Venezuela Toda campaign begin to close activities in preparation for the consultative referendum in defense of the Essequibo. And in Kenya, tens of thousands are struggling to cope with the aftermath of floods, with at least 70 dead and thousands of people driven from their homes. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Alan Sabal from the teleSUR studios in Amana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Hamas and Israel agreed to extend a ceasefire for another 2 days. It will also announce that 20 Israeli hostages and 60 Palestinian prisoners could be released as part of the truce. Israel and the Palestinian movement Hamas have agreed to extend a ceasefire that began last Friday and had to end this Monday. This was reported by the Qatari Foreign Ministry, which, along with Egypt, is acting as a mediator in the negotiations. The spokesman for the Qatari Foreign Ministry, Majed Al-Ansari, on his X account, formerly Twitter, highlighted that within the framework of the ongoing mediation, an agreement has been reached to extend the humanitarian truce for 2 more days in the Gaza Strip. Although Tel Aviv has not yet confirmed the extension, Hamas has already done so, adding that the same ceasefire conditions will be maintained from the beginning, the release of 10 hostages per day. Many are optimistic about the 2-day extension of the humanitarian truce between Hamas and Israel. Both sides will continue to release hostages in the coming hours, and it is expected that new ceasefires can be reached. For more updates, our correspondent Noha Racine reports directly from the Gaza Strip.
Truce in Gaza has been extended for 2 more days. The Qatari Foreign Ministry and also Hamas from its side said that they have finally agreed and reached agreement to extend the truce in Gaza for 2 more days on the same conditions with Israel. Same conditions mean that Hamas from its side will be releasing at least 10 hostages every day, while Israel from its side will be releasing at least 30 prisoners from its side, as the ratio is 1 to 3. At the same time here, Palestinians on the ground are optimistic that this truce will open the way to new and more extended truces and ceasefires with Israel, even though there is a word from Israel that they want to continue the land operation in Gaza and actually intensively. However, as we are living day by day, we can tell that this truce might bring the Gaza Strip and Israel to a long-term ceasefire. Today, Hamas will be delivering more hostages, 9 children and 2 elderly women, while Israel will be releasing 33 Palestinian prisoners. Noha Racine, teleSUR, Gaza.
Palestinian authorities announced that Israeli occupation forces have carried out more than 3,000 illegal arrests since the beginning of the siege of the Tel Aviv regime on Gaza. The Palestinian Prisoners Club stated that more than 880 children have been kidnapped by Israel so far in 2023. For their part, the Israeli occupation forces claim that the illegal arrests against Palestinians are carried out because they represent an imminent threat to their security. The Gaza Strip authorities pointed out that the illegal arrests are carried out in homes, military checkpoints, among others. The Prime Minister of Jordan, Bashar al-Jassanen, says that any attempt to expel Palestinian people is a declaration of war. It is what he responded that comments by the Israeli Finance Minister, the far-right Bezalel Smotrich, who has suggested the alternative as a relief to the conflict. The Jordanian Prime Premier assures that this action represents a destruction of the Palestinian issue and a serious violation of the peace agreement between Jordan and Israel. Al-Hasnain says that the only solution to the situation is a two-state solution and reiterates that it is inevitable. In Spain, foreign ministers attended a meeting of EU members and Middle Eastern and North African countries that focused on diplomatic efforts to stop the Israeli-Palestine war, called for greater efforts to reach a permanent ceasefire. Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Malki made a plea to extend the current ceasefire in Gaza that was due to expire on Monday. Israel declined to attend a meeting hosted by the Union for the Mediterranean and chaired by the EU's Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell and Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi. Participants discussed strategies to deal with the humanitarian catastrophe and tried to reach a roadmap for the future of Gaza and the whole of Palestine. The forum promotes cooperation between the countries of the European Union and the southern shores of the Mediterranean.
That we have a deadline by the end of midnight, and after that Israel is threatening of going further, the destruction, the bombardment, the killing of Palestinians, especially in the south of Gaza, and we have to do our utmost in order to prevent that from happening. So this is really our responsibility, collective responsibility of today. We hope that we will succeed, but it's not really enough that we only make statements. It's that it's very important to make action, and this is really the responsibility, the collective responsibility of the international community.
Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi hoped the meeting will help bridge the gap between Arab and European countries on calling for a humanitarian pause in Gaza to become a permanent ceasefire.
What we're working for is for this pause to immediately develop into a permanent ceasefire. Inherent in the agreement that allowed for this humanitarian pause is an agreement that would extend it should more civilians be released. We support this. We have clearly supported that civilians be released, but again, you cannot have the whole people of Gaza hostage. You cannot have 2.3 million Palestinian hostage and subject them to the destruction and aggression that we've seen unfolding over the past weeks. So yes, we demand that this pause turns into a permanent ceasefire. We urge the international community to also push as hard as it can for this to become a ceasefire, because simply a ceasefire means that lives are saved.
Safadi said the truce was holding, but the more efforts were needed to ensure that the pause in fighting immediately turns into a permanent ceasefire.
First of all, we cannot talk about who will run Gaza before this war ends, because we don't know what kind of Gaza would be left after this aggression is over. Gaza is being turned into rubbles. Its population, 1.7 Gazans have been displaced. So we're talking about a catastrophe of enormous scale here. So the first thing, stop the aggression. Then after that, Gaza alone cannot work. Any approach to dealing with Gaza should be part and parcel of a comprehensive approach to address the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in its entirety, and that can only be through the two-state solution. Obviously, there are a lot of challenges in the process, but Israel cannot be allowed to determine the future of this region. It cannot just create a reality and then have us all coming, running to clean after it. Israel must be held accountable for what it's doing. It must stop the aggression, and it must engage in later in I wouldn't say process, but in measures that would restore the credibility of the two-state solution as a way to go forward.
Finally, the Jordanian Foreign Minister said that the displacement of Palestinians from the land is unacceptable.
Displacement of Palestinians is something that none of us will accept. We've seen Palestinians leave their homes in 1948. We've seen them leave in 1967, and they've never gone back. We believe that displacement is something that will further empty Palestine from its people. We in Jordan said that's a red line because we see it as a threat to our national security, and we'll do whatever it takes to prevent this from happening.
Let's take a short break. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Our study is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, social and political organizations participating in the Venezuela Toda campaign begin to close activities in view of the referendum in the defense of the Essequibo territory. Campaign commands from all over the country mobilized in defense of the territory of the Guyana Essequiba at the beginning of the closing of activities for the popular consultation on December 3rd. In this sense, participants in the polling acts throughout the nation pointed out that the importance of leaving aside differences in order to defend the sovereignty and national peace. During the closing ceremony on Bolivar Avenue in San Carlos in Cojita State, the first Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, PCUV, Diosdado Cabello, assured that the imperial powers maintain a war against the country and affirmed that the Venezuelan people will continue fighting to defeat these pretensions.
It is a war against Venezuela by imperial powers. Organizations that should be impartial are aligned. Imperial forces are aligned. Oil transnationals are aligned. Those who historically have wanted to get their hands on Venezuela are aligned. This is not the first time that Venezuelan people have resisted, fought and won. I'm sure that we will continue to resist, we will continue to fight, and we will continue to win, because we are historically right.
Iris Barrella, deputy of the Venezuelan Assembly, recalled that the December 3rd consultation is a historic event in which Venezuelans will be able to defend the homeland in a sovereign exercise.
For the first time in more than 100 years, Venezuelans of this historical time will have in their hands the possibility to really go out and exercise sovereignty to defend the homeland. And that is achieved by voting 5 times yes.
The President of the National Assembly of Venezuela, Jorge Rodriguez, in the closing ceremony in the state of Apure, called on the people of Venezuela to express their passion for the defense of the territory throughout this December 3rd referendum.
This passion, this emotion, this burst of patriotic love must be expressed next Sunday, December 3rd, by voting 5 times yes. Yes to the Geneva Agreement. We reject the arbitration award. We reject, we do not accept the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. We strongly reject that the thief of the government of Guyana tried to steal a sea that has not been delimited and that belongs to Venezuela. And very importantly, yes to the creation of the 24th state of Venezuela, the state of Guyana Essequiba.
In Venezuela, a Council of Sectoral Vice President was held with a view to the consultative referendum to be held on December 3rd for the defense of the Essequibo. The Venezuelan Executive Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez, detailed that in the activity the officials concluded with the pertinent revisions of the document that validate Venezuela's right to the territory of the Essequibo, Guyana. The high official also pointed out that this is the 203rd anniversary of the historical embrace between the liberator Simón Bolívar and the Spanish royalist General Pablo Morillo. Rodriguez also emphasized that the security agencies, together with the Ministry of Electric Energy, are prepared to react to any eventuality during the consultative referendum on December 3rd. The high-ranking functionary of the Venezuelan government highlighted that the Republic plan will deploy more than 300,000 troops to guarantee the security of voters during the popular consultation.
And there precisely the Council of Vice Presidents, together with the Security Cabinet, were reviewing all the aspects of the logistic of the Republic Plan. More than 350,000 military and police troops are going to participate in this Republic Plan so that Venezuelans can exercise our right to vote. To vote for what? To vote for the Essequibo, to vote for our Guyana Essequiba.
In Colombia, the Attorney General's office summoned former President Álvaro Uribe to testify about the massacre that took place in Antioquia during his term as a governor. Former President Uribe will appeal before the Supreme Court of Justice to answer for the massacres committed by paramilitary groups in 1996 and 1997. According to authorities, massacres took place in the municipality of Ituango, the first in La Granja, where 5 people were killed in June 1996, and the second in El Ara, where 15 peasants were killed in October 1997. The Attorney General's office, for his part, considered these murders to be crimes against humanity and is currently conducting a preliminary investigation in the municipality where the incidents occurred. The Peruvian National Police raided several offices of the Public Prosecutor's Office as a part of an investigation into an alleged criminal network led by the head of the Public Prosecutor's Office, Patricia Benavides. The National Police, in coordination with the Special Team Against Power Corruption, raided alleged 6 property belonging to the Public Prosecutor's Office in the district of Cercado de Lima, La Molina, El Agustino, and Jesus Maria. According to the investigations, Benavides will be guilty of leading an alleged criminal gang and influence peddling. In this sense, the information points to the fact that the National Prosecutor will unlawfully intervene in the removal of the National Justice Board, in the appointment of the Ombudsman, and in approval of political disqualifications. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Kenya, tens of thousands of people are struggling to cope with the aftermath of floods, with at least 70 dead and thousands of people driven from their homes. The floods have washed away many roads and bridges and left others partially destroyed, especially in northern Kenya. More than 33,000 households have been displaced across the country, according to Kenyan President William Ruto. The Kenyan leader also warned that cases of cholera and malaria were appearing in some areas. Ruto is scheduled to meet with his cabinet on Monday to discuss the emergency response to the crisis. Kenya's meteorological department has forecast that the country is likely to continue to record above average rainfall this season, especially in the central and eastern regions.
There was heavy rain and flooding at night, and I had no one to help me. My husband died a long time ago. I was struggling to get my children to safety. When I went back, everything was gone. We had nowhere to stay. All the food was gone, and the whole house has been swept away by water.
We are struggling, in fact, to get the food. And the food is also very expensive in the shops in the environment. So the little that you have is not even enough. I personally, I cannot. When I see some families, I think I'm better off. Although I'm having problems, but I'm better off.
The president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, confirmed that calm has returned to the country following an attack on the military barracks and several penitentiary centers. The head of the state said that this Monday on national television that the main leaders of the attacks have been arrested and that the capture of all those involved is continuing. On Sunday, the Wilberforce barracks in Freetown, the country's capital, was attacked by armed individuals, while at the same time, in a surprise operation, groups of assailants took over several criminal centers where they kidnapped some of the detainees and released others. In view of the situation, the government declared a curfew throughout the country.
Most of the leaders have been arrested. Security operations and investigations are ongoing. We will ensure that those responsible are held accountable through due process. I acknowledge the bravery and dedication of our armed forces, police, and all those who played a role in defeating this attempt to undermine the peace and stability we have worked so hard to achieve. In times like this, we are reminded of the importance of national unity. Let us not succumb to fear or division. Let us come together as one people, one nation. Our strength lies in our.
After a series of joint military exercises and maneuvers involving South Korea and Japan, Washington has again raised tensions in the Korean peninsula, while North Korea is preparing tough responses based on its right to self-defense. Pyongyang launched an intelligence satellite on the premise of its right to defend its territory against repeated provocation from the West and its closest neighbors. After the operation, Washington promoted joint military exercises with Seoul and Tokyo, in which nuclear weapons were mobilized. When the success of the North Korean satellite was confirmed, Seoul partially suspended a military pact with Pyongyang, which responded by completely abrogating it and moving from military contingents towards the common border. Belgium decided to cancel activities at nearly 30 schools in the Bremen region due to the multiple bomb threats. The Education Authority in Wallonia-Brussels confirmed that a series of bomb threats were registered late on Sunday. Therefore, on the basis of the precautionary principle, they took the decision to suspend all activities in 27 educational centers. The police inspected the academy facilities and there is still no information about the investigation. The regional authorities called for calm and rejected the situations because of the damage they caused at the crucial stage of the school process. The Russian government assured that it supports Brazil's aspiration to become a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov took part on Monday in a ceremony to inaugurate an exhibition of documents commemorating the 197th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Russia and Brazil. During the event, Lavrov said Moscow and Brazil advocate a more democratic world, the reform of global governance institutions, and the role of the United Nations in international affairs. The Russian foreign minister also supported the independent course of Brazil's foreign policy and assured that relations between the two countries are developing within the framework of a strategic, sustainable, and non-opportunistic partnership. And we have come to the end of this brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscast and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.